Let's bring in influencer Liz Benishu, political and media strategist Christina Pascucci, along with Republican strategist Luke Ball. Luke, to you first. I mean, Hillary Clinton, it's all yours. Hillary says she would nominate Trump for a Nobel if he did this and he did, 9,000 other things. What do you make of that statement, though?
She should start sharpening her pencil to write a letter to the Nobel Peace Prize Commission, especially after this meeting today. Look, a lot of people are going to criticize the president following this, but I don't think those individuals could negotiate their way through a flea market. They've obviously never been in a real estate transaction before, and we've said it over and over again, but it bears repeating. This would not have happened under the previous administration, this meeting today. We wouldn't have gotten to this place because there was no negotiating table between Zelensky and Putin. And frankly, I think Joe Biden is just now finding out that Alaska is a state in the Union.
It's amazing to me because the coverage of this thing, as we watched it all day today, Christina Pascucci, this is for you. MSNBC was on the air for one reason, to just beat the daylights out of this whole summit. Here's part of that thing. Nicole Wallace, watch.
It's watching them scrape and struggle to get an American president who supported them, to give them all the weapons they needed to go toe-to-toe with Russia. And to see all that potentially erased by an American president who just doesn't give a about democracy. He doesn't care about our allies. He doesn't care about a democratic ally's sovereignty.
I mean, it gets kind of, you're like, what does it? What are your thoughts?
You're speechless,
I
right?
just don't know what, yeah.
You know what we need to see? We need to see the clip of their reaction to the Hillary Clinton clip.
Right.
That's what I want to see.
They just melt.
Yeah, I want to offer some perspective. I did cover the war in Ukraine weeks after the Russian invasion on the ground. So I'd like to offer some perspective that maybe it would be more useful than what we just saw on MSNBC.
Okay,
from the
fire
perspective of what foreign policy analysts are saying, what they hope President Trump will bring to these talks or brought to these talks earlier today. They're cautioning against him giving any concessions to Putin because Putin perceives that as weakness, especially when it comes to land concessions. Not only does it send a message to our adversaries, they can do the same thing too, but it will, any sort of diplomacy with Putin, he sees as weakness. So I hope Trump continues with his peace through strength.
Listen, I think there are a lot of people are saying it's going to come down to land swaps and it's going to come down to security guarantees. That's just the bottom line in all of this. Gavin Newsom, meantime, posting this on X, Liz, using all capitals, of course, trying to mock Trump, use Trump style. He's been doing this for a while now. He says, quoting, Trump just fled the podium with Putin. No questions, nothing. Total low energy. The man looked like he'd just eaten 3 buckets of KFC with Vlad. Admit it, Donnie J. You're terrified because this was the worst week of your life because of me, Gavin C. Newsom. I think he's trying to be funny. I don't know what he's trying to do, but it comes across as childish. And you're the governor of the biggest state in the union. What are you doing?
Honestly, I feel like he's trying so hard to be Trump, but he's coming off like Kanye West. He seems absolutely insane. Yeah. California has been run to the ground under Gavin Newsom, and he's so focused on his 2028 presidential election that he's completely forgetting the homeless crisis, the unemployment in California. He has gone off the rails, and he's just looking crazy.
We have other things going on in this state, Governor. Meantime, here's Joe Rogan continuing kind of veering more left, Luke, and I'll get your take. Watch.
It was a visceral reaction that a lot of people had, the idea of people just showing up and pulling people out of schools and pulling people out of Home Depot and pulling people that were just hardworking people that maybe snuck over here because they didn't have a legal way to get over here. But since they've been here, they've been good people and they're a part of communities. And that's what freaks people out, because when people thought about ICE, they thought, great, we're going to get rid of the gang members. They didn't think, great, you're going to get rid of a landscaper.
Joe Rogan's a smart guy, Luke, but he misses the whole point here is they're not targeting the landscape, but they want to get at the bad people, and they are in the meantime ensnaring some regular good people. But that's not the point, and that's not the goal.
Joe has a lot of knockout punches. This was not one of them. I've noticed something, Trace. Before, Republicans and Trump supporters were deplorables. Then we were, under Joe Biden, garbage. And now we just didn't think Donald Trump was going to do what he said he was going to do coming into office. I hear that over and over again, and that's not something that's really going to stick very well with the electorate if they keep running with that narrative.
Yeah. Meantime, you have L.A. schools worried that ICE raids ICE agents are coming for the elementary school kids. Today, you had the DHS, Tricia McLaughlin, right? DHS assistant spokesperson says this had nothing to do with immigration enforcement. She said the check was to ensure the children are safe and not being exploited, abused, and sex trafficked. But of course, you know, the ICE agents are evil, Christina Pascucci. How can they care about kids? This is not true. They can't be caring about these kids.
You know, I've seen a lot of irresponsible reporting to this, especially on social media. Things go viral. People jump to conclusions before the truth is able to get out. And in this case, a wellness check is obviously a very important piece of the story. I do know the reporter from CBS that was doing this story, and he did touch on some very real fears in the Latino community. I've talked to a lot of the people who are impacted by this. About 70% of LAUSD is Latino, and even the superintendent is an immigrant from Cuba. And so they are living in fear because of what they've seen in their community.
Are they here illegally?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. You know, my nanny's here legally, and she still is nervous about just because of everything that, you know, is being spread on social media.
By the left.
And, well, I would argue that the Trump administration, in some cases, I know you won't agree with me, but Tom Homan, border czar, has said he wants to send a strong, clear message. If people are here legally, they should be afraid. And so perhaps sometimes they do want the optics of the strength as they...
Meantime, Time Magazine says just gushing over Zohran Mamdani. Mamdani emerges as both interesting and more complicated than the caricatures suggest. He is very eloquent, very young man who is both less experienced than his predecessors and more gifted than almost any of his peers at connecting with the party's voters. Hey, he's the new king. I mean, Liz, it's just amazing. Zohran Mamdani, 32 years old, with a cup of coffee experience, is now the model for politicians.
I mean, isn't it astonishing? He came out of absolutely nowhere, and all of a sudden, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Zohran Mamdani is the absolute worst thing that could happen to New York City. New York City has the second highest population of Jewish people in the entire world. He is openly anti-Semitic. He is openly anti-Israel. He is going to turn the greatest city in the world into Venezuela. I don't know what Time is thinking. It's absolutely nonsense.
Liz, Christina, Luke, thank you both, all three. Back with the Nightcap crew, Kevin Cork, Jackie Ibanez, Mark Montgomery, Luke Ball, Jamie Lee Franklin, and Christina Pascucci. Tonight's topic, so how did it go? President Trump touting great progress after meeting with President Putin, but there is still no deal. And the question is, do you think the meeting overall was a success? Kind of hard to tell, right? Or just another hurdle to achieving peace? I want to start with Kevin Cork here because I've actually got a little follow-up question to ask Kevin when he comes out of this. What do you think of the summit today, Kevin?
Yeah, I liken it to a football game. As a former quarterback, you can relate to this. Let's just call it start of the third quarter. Home team is winning. We'll see if they can sow a victory over the next couple of quarters.
And I was having this debate with Christina Pascucci during the break because she's the only one on set. Y'all are in other places around the country, Kevin. But I'm wondering if this is when he says that it's up to Zelensky, it really does kind of come down to land, right? These land swaps. Yep. It's conceding and ceding territory. That's what this all seems to come down to, Kevin. Do you agree, disagree?
No, I agree completely. And, you know, history and culture are very important, not just to people in that part of the world, but everywhere. And I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle. But if Zelensky wants to save his people and end this, there will be concessions probably on both sides.
Yeah, it seems like it. I want to go to you, Luke Ball, next, but I want to play a very quick soundbite from President Trump because he was kind of asked to grade today's summit, and he said the following.
So I think the meeting was a 10 in the sense that we got along great, and it's good when, you know, two big powers get along, especially when they're nuclear powers.
A 10 to me, Luke, seems like he believes they're going to get this thing done.
It's a very measured response from him, but you don't merge the company in the first round of negotiations. You don't settle the lawsuit in the first round of mediation. This is a process. And so for our friends in the last frontier up in Alaska, they broke the ice in Alaska today. How do you eat a whale? One bite at a time.